Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey. This is a reading for the 5-2 human design profile, the Heretic Hermit. If you don't know what your profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your human design body graph, and your profile will be listed on there. Besides knowing your profile, you don't necessarily need to know a ton about human design in order to view these messages. These aren't meant to be educational in a way. I try my best not to use a ton of human design language, just so the message doesn't get lost. But, not every 5-2 is an Aquarius or a Cancer. So they're meant to be, again, just an additional channel to receive a message. But definitely be sure to check out your zodiac sign readings. Those are all up. And yeah, let's see what cards come out for you. I'm so glad to finally be sitting down for your reading. I actually did try to do this last week. I don't even know what day that was, but it was a bit of a mess. And then I just kind of feel like in my own life, I had these huge breakthroughs and realizations and all of the things. And I also just kind of needed a couple days to kind of ground myself in that stuff. So, and that was all like around that Libra new moon that was this last Tuesday. So, did you have any big aha moments or any big breakthroughs? I know, like for me personally, new moons seem to be more impactful, like definitely on my mood, definitely on, if I need to, receive a message from somebody, myself, from whatever, something in my life, whatever it is, then it's more than likely going to happen around a new moon. I'm a Cancer rising, so maybe, but also even just the placement of this Libra new moon it honestly felt kind of fated. So anyway, that's all to say that, like I said, I'm glad to be sitting down for your reading. I'm sorry that it has taken so long. We trust the timing, of course. I mean, can we get some cards or no? For our 5-2s. We don't take the cards that flip. We only take the cards that come out of the deck because we want commitment. And I just don't take the cards that flip in the deck. I just don't take them seriously. That was a strength card though. So I kind of feel like it was like this little reminder about continuing forward. Even a bit of like trusting the process, which I know is like kind of like star cardy, but even with strength, right? I mean, sometimes it's like something to be true. The outcome that you want to get to, and you have to keep yourself in it, and that's strength to continue to believe in something, to have such, what is the word? No. That is too many. What is the word? I want to say fortitude? Fuck. What does that word mean? Fortitude. This is why, I also should have my laptop by me, but if I do, then I start Googling, everything. Which, I don't know, maybe that's not a bad thing, but anyway, drop the definition of fortitude in the comments. Here we go. We have the Hanged Man, Neptune. Neptune just went back into Pisces one last time in our lifetimes anyway. I also love that this is chrysalis, because even like I was saying with the strength card, about, you know, keeping yourself in it, like, you know, what is happening inside of a chrysalis? Like it's literally a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, and it's this protective barrier between what is happening to that. I mean, truly metamorphosis, right? Life is like continuing to happen all around, and inside of this little thing here, literal magic is happening. I actually really do wonder, like, what does that look like? Huh. I need to make notes. Can we get a pen that doesn't suck? Oh yeah, my favorite. Okay, so fortitude. What happens inside a chrysalis? I spelled that wrong. Because truly, I don't know. I mean, like, has somebody made a video of that? Because what I imagine, and I guess what I understand, is that literally, like, the caterpillar turns into goo inside this chrysalis, and then they basically, like, like, come back together, as a butterfly. I'm literally trying to imagine how that's happening. Okay, sorry, I'm like getting lost in the weeds about trying to understand like that process. We have the Knight of Cups in the reverse. And the Daughter of Swords. I feel like this duo came out before, but it doesn't matter. Okay, let me just make sure. Okay. Let me just kind of sit with this for a sec. I keep getting this sense of your feelings and your mindset, your perspective, your intention, even, because intention has been huge for me this week as well. It's like those two things needing to come into alignment, or even needing to believe in both of those things. I just heard in my head fortifying, and I'm like, okay, somebody's playing games on me now, because I'm also like, can I figure out, can I deduce what fortitude and fortifying, I'm assuming those are the same words. It's like, what is the I'll find it. Reinforcing. Something like making something stronger. Which is interesting since that whole thing even came from the strength card. But like I said, like there seems to be what is kind of having you in this holding period is that, for one, there is this big transformation that is happening, and maybe it is something that is internal, like it's something that maybe you haven't been showing people or outwardly expressing yet. And maybe the reason for that is that you are working on establishing that connection between, and I'm pointing, like I have my left hand on my gut, I have my index finger on my third eye. I know you can't see that, that's why I'm saying it out loud. But it's like you are working on reinforcing and fortifying your intention with your emotions. Because the thing with intention, like I said, it's been my whole fucking personality this week is intention. So I'm gonna now share that with you. My personality, the following whatever, the week before, prior week was Mount Everest. So I don't know which one is better. I think they're both kind of cool. But anyway, so intention, right? Like literally intention is a mindset. It's an idea. It's a goal. It starts with that burst that happens in our brain. I want this. I want to do that. I believe this. Right? And then the other thing with intention, though, is action. Like it's just an idea until you take action towards it. But in that whole process, it is like, how do I feel about this intention? How do I feel about the moment before this intention even showed up here? So again, it's like getting the mind and the emotional body in alignment so that you can take action. And this is definitely a time where you are being asked to see things from a different perspective. It could even be approaching your own growth, your own, transformation from a different angle. And part of the reason why I was even like going down that route is because the Knight of Cups is reversed. The Daughter of Swords, or the Page of Swords, is upright, and it feels like yin and yang to me. It doesn't feel like negative, and especially to, reversals can go either way. It's either the opposite of the upright meaning, or it's internal work. Like I just heard somebody explain retrogrades in astrology as being more internal processes versus external expression of whatever that planet is. And that made so much fucking sense to me. It's hard to me anyway, like, and of course my limited experience with astrologers, but it's kind of hard to find an astrologer who will talk in depth on retrograde planets, because most of them either don't at all, or they'll say that it's not that big of a deal type of thing. And maybe it's not, I totally believe, what they're saying. I have all of the planets in my chart are retrograde except for Mars and Venus. And which means that like the majority of them are all outer planets. But I'm like, that's got to mean something, right? Because especially when the planets go retrograde in transit, people are always talking about what that means, right? So I'm like, how can it mean something in transit but not like in your chart? And like I said, I had an astrology reading. There was somebody on Reddit who was offering free readings for practice, and that was his take on retrograde planets, and I'm like, that fucking makes total sense, because I am a very internal processing person. You know what is also really interesting with your guys' readings? And I'm going to pay attention to this while I'm doing the six sixth line readings, because I have you guys and then the 6-2 and the 6-3 left. This happened during the first reading that I attempted as well. But I found myself talking a lot about myself. Which, who else would I talk about? Obviously I know we're doing the reading for you guys, right? This whole reading is about you. And I have to trust too that anything that I am talking about in relation to myself has something to do with you too. But, and no doubt, in every other reading that I've ever done, there's no doubt I've talked about some experience that I've had. But with you guys, in the last reading and in this one, because I caught myself in that reading too, I'm like, fuck, I'm talking about myself a lot in this. And then I started feeling kind of like insecure or like worried that I was going to be judged for that or blah, 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 whatever, And really what that is that I'm judging myself, right? Like, it's always an I statement. Whenever I'm like, oh, somebody's going to feel or say or do a certain thing to me, like that's me projecting. I'm a 5-1. But that's me, projecting my inner thoughts, feelings, and I feel that way, so I feel like other people will too, type of thing. So anyway, I don't know. I again, I don't know if you guys need to talk about yourself more. Share like your experience, even like I was saying with this whole thing, if this has been a very internal process where you can feel the transformation happening, like maybe your inner world does feel like goo, and maybe you are using your literal body, as a chrysalis. Right? That's kind of like what it is in a way, but not really. And maybe you are even like dressing in a way where it feels like protection, where maybe you're not getting a ton of attention, or you don't want there to be a focus or a concentration on like your outer expression right now, because you are really digging deep into your own like internal processes, your own internal, feelings, and really too, even discovering and honoring what it is that you need, it's learning to fill your own cup. It's learning to give yourself maybe the things that you at one point were looking for, external validation or external offerings from, how maybe you found your sense of self-security in relationships or your self-esteem in relationships, whatever kind of relationships, romantic, platonic, business, whatever. And it's like being in this process of really figuring out who are you without those things, and how do you give yourself that validation? How do you find and express your own self-esteem? And what are your beliefs around yourself, your life, what's possible? Where did those even come from? Because a lot of those things aren't even ours. Beliefs, even intentions. A lot of intentions that we live by aren't necessarily ours. They are maybe our parents or our culture or society, or the friend groups that we have. It's like that type of thing where it's like are these actual intentions that I want to set, that I want to take action towards in my life? Do I believe in them? What is my belief in myself? Because truly, I mean, like that's like the big question. Like what do I believe about myself and my capability? And but like I said, like, so I don't even know if I actually finished that thought, but with the Knight of Cups being in the reverse and the Daughter of Swords or the Page of Swords being upright, like this feels, like I said, like yin and yang. So there's this balancing act, especially like with the Hanged Man, and that's about suspension and delay and seeing things from a different perspective. It's almost like being in, I want to say limbo, but that's not the right word. It could be. It could be. I mean, like pages are the apprentices to me. Like they're the newbies. They're the ones that are trying to like figure out where to even start. They have the ace of whatever element, whatever suit they represent. So this one they would have the ace of swords, and it's like this new ideas, new perspective, new information too. I mean, that's very much like intellect and knowledge. You could be reading things that have to do with the ideas that are coming to mind, or even this transformation process that you're going through, because that can be kind of confusing sometimes also. Like, okay, I know something is changing, but like what are the words for it, right? Like what are the vocabulary? You could even be, bro, I was like talking about fortitude and fortifying, and even limbo. Like I was kind of like, what does being in limbo mean? it's like kind of like being in between. Not quite on one side, not quite on the other side. Not really like anchored or attached to anything either, which is also like very Page of Swords. That it's a page of anything to me. They're not going to attach themselves to anything yet. It's literally like this idea of like try anything. Like change your mindset. See if some other, mindset, whatever it is, how that feels. Because it does. It will feel a certain way. Again, if there's something else that you believe to be true, follow that line of thought. Research it. See if it holds water. And if it doesn't, okay, on to the next. The nights are when, like, the nights are out there actually doing the thing. So pages are like figuring out the direction, the thing, the motivation, whatever. The knights then are the ones that are out there actually putting that into practice. Like the pages would almost to like be the training and conditioning, right? Like learning to, again, like work with the element, like they have the element in their hand. Really, just getting comfortable with it. Like I keep imagining in my head about, like what it would feel like to hold a sword in my hand, right? Like how that would feel, the muscles that it would activate. Even, like maybe it would change my confidence about myself or something, and then also being like, what the fuck do I do with this thing? And then the knights are out there actually, putting that training into practice. They have the muscle memory that was established here in the page. Even though, I mean, these are different, elements. We have air and water. But like I said, it feels very much about like aligning your mindset, your beliefs with how you're feeling, how you want to feel. Even the feelings that you want to invite into your life. The feelings that you want to let go of too. Because again, with the Knight of Cups being in the reverse, this does feel very internal. This isn't you thinking about how you want other people to feel around you or in relation to you. This is how you want to feel at all in any points in your life. Let's also see what's at the bottom of the deck. And the one thing that also like just as I was picking up the deck and looking at all of these cards, it's very blue to me. Like there's just like an overall blue, and of course black too, and of course white, whatever. Which actually the black and white thing is yin and yang to me, right? But then the blue hue, blue is the throat chakra. So again, if there is, if this process has been, very internal to you, it could really bring things together for you by saying it out loud, or, having conversations. And of course, even choose those people, wisely. But I know, like, for me, I'm a very, like, verbal processing type of person. Like, I can think and feel things in a certain way, but as soon as I say them out loud, I'm like, oh, that's how that sounds. Or I'm like, hell yeah, that's actually exactly it, you know? So it almost, again, like, fortifies, reinforces something, but it like shifts the energy of it. It either makes it stronger or it shows, like, the weakness in it. And either way, you can make tweaks to it, right? And better yet, you don't waste so much time on something that's not holding any water. You know, like I was saying with the Daughter of Swords, you know, like, does a belief or an idea or whatever, you know, like, does it hold water? And the faster that you can find that out, the better. Because if it doesn't, then you can switch it up, right? I don't know if you can hear that blue jay outside. They have been so loud this year. And there's one blue jay that, I don't know if it's the same blue jay or not, but that's been hanging around my house. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm very happy to see it every day. But I'm just like, you are so loud. And I think that's even perfect for what we were just saying, you know, like, throat, and they're blue. Fucking throat chakra. I think that's confirmation. Because now I can't hear it. Now they're gone. So I think that was confirmation for you. That is so funny. Even that, like, I mentioned that. But let's look at the bottom of the deck. And if you're still here, thank you so much. I'm so glad. I am so glad that you are still here, because my brain wants to tell me that, you know, you're not. And if you haven't done so already, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the channel. Like the video, leave a comment, say hi, tell me what fortitude means. Give me your definition of limbo. If you know, like, what exactly happens in a chrysalis, tell me about that too, because honestly, that might be my new obsession. Which probably wouldn't, like, go very far. How many videos could you possibly watch on that? But yeah, those are all free ways to support this community, support the space, and help the channel and help me grow. And I love that for us. So thank you. And we have the Devil at the bottom of the deck, which is Capricorn. The Hanged Man, I think I said is Neptune, which just went back into Pisces. Capricorn is Saturn, and that is also in Pisces. So maybe Pisces is important for you, or an important area of your chart. But it is kind of interesting that the two planets that just went back into, or that are back into Pisces, are out here now. Neptune is like people usually like describe it as like, rose-colored glasses, or also too, like, illusions. I mean, I believe that it is like a positive planet. I don't think that there's a negative planet anyway, but it just kind of makes things hard to see clearly. Because too, it's like you almost want to see the good in something, to the extent of not wanting to see anything else. Also, too, like maybe even like a little bit of distortion. And the other thing that is coming to mind is that, like, a solution, there's a simple solution, but like we cannot allow ourselves to believe that it would be that easy. Like it's got to be something else. It can't just be the most simple, most direct answer for whatever reason that we do that, you know. It could be because it has felt hard, it has felt difficult, it has felt, and whatever it is, you know, whatever your situation is, it's like I have put so much energy into this. I've tried so many different things. I have felt so many different ways. You know, like I have unpacked or peeled back the layers of my own onion like so many different times, that it can't possibly just be like this simple answer. Like I have Neptune in my 6th house, Sagittarius. So Neptune transiting back into Pisces is approaching another square with my natal Neptune. My natal Neptune is 28 degrees. I don't think it's going to go back to 28 degrees, but it's at 29 degrees and it's going backwards. So, I, you know, the 6th house is about like health and daily routine and those type of things, right? And my whole life, like I have had digestive issues. I was diagnosed with IBS when I was like 12. And as I have gotten older, like I feel like I go through these phases once a decade, every 10 years, where I'll go to, you know, gastroenterologists and get all these tests done because I'm like, there's something just that is just not right, you know? It can't just be IBS, right? I mean, and what the fuck is that? You know, like no doctor can actually explain what IBS is. Or I haven't had a doctor that has like been able to explain what IBS is. I've had colonoscopies. I've had blood work. I've had whatever, right? Every 10 years I do this. Because every 10 years I'm like, okay, the last decade I haven't felt great. And how did I find? I don't even remember now. I'm literally using this as an example of Neptune, but a couple months ago, like literally in July, I found information on the FODMAP diet, and don't ask me what FODMAP means. It's an acronym for words. Like each one of those letters have, you know, a word associated with them. I literally cannot remember how I even came across the FODMAP diet, but it's literally this Monash university, which I think is out of Australia, has done all this research on IBS specifically, and have found that it's like certain carbohydrates and certain fibers that your small intestine does not break down very well or at all. So it like causes the symptoms of IBS. So you take out these specific type of foods that have these FODMAPs in them, you take them out for a certain period of time and then you start reintroducing them to find out what it is that triggers you. Right. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is it. Like, no doctor has ever said anything. And granted, I don't know how long this FODMAP diet has been around. I don't know. But I've been on pretty much kind of, the FODMAP diet for a couple months now, since I guess the end of August. So 2 months. And not even perfectly on it, but I am pretty sure that garlic and onion are my high trigger foods. Like, I thought it was gluten for a long time, so I was gluten free, I was dairy free, I was sugar free, I was blah, 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 blah. High fructose corn syrup is another thing that fucks me up, like just makes my face break out. But I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Like, if it's garlic and onion that has been ruining my life for literally 30 years, I don't even, but that's what, right? Like, that's what I mean about like Neptune. It's like thinking that, or, like it's gotta be something big, right? Because it feels big, when really it's like garlic and onion. So anyway, we haven't even talked about the devil card. I'm sorry. I don't even know how long this video has been. Also even Saturn, right? Because Saturn is about time, limitations, delay, also a little bit, discipline. So even like with it being in retrograde and both of these being back in Pisces, like, is there something that it's like almost dotting T's and crossing I's, really kind of making sure that you're fortified, that you are right, that, and maybe that's what a little bit of that limbo feels like too, but it's like, no, we want to be sure that you are sturdy in your resolve, type of thing. I mean, the devil card talks about obsessions and control, like it's a lot of ego too, because what are the things that control you? It talks about addictions, distractions, because those are a form of control, whether we do those things because we feel a lack of control in other areas in our lives, or that addiction, the habit, has kind of become a control over us. There's also even like a overstimulating aspect. Like, I'm just looking at these lights and the horses in here. I'm like, that feels to me like it would be overstimulating. So really it's like looking at areas of your life where you feel in control, where you feel out of control. Like, where are you investing your energy and your time? Where are you distracting yourself or even numbing yourself because of whatever reason, right? Like, because maybe of overstimulation or under stimulation, fear, doubt, boredom, whatever, it's kind of like almost bad habits too. Like, where are there areas of your life where you have created habits that do not support whatever is happening here between the Hanged Man, Knight of Cups, and Page of Swords? Because there's also, there's an opportunity to release those things as well. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.